this job opening came up over here and was lucky enough to get this, making bourbon. It's something special. It's what I enjoy drinking. And so it's, taking that grain and really converting it into something unique and something special. And so it's, for me, that was kind of the thread of how I got into this industry, and kind of taking that from the case, the rural Kansas thing to now being a master distiller making bourbon.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Three Maw Pod. Usually at the onset of the show, you hear us bring up our friends and partners at Holladay Distillery, who we cannot say enough great things about. But we thought we'd bring on a guest today who's a true expert on Holladay Distillery's bourbon. Holladay Distillery's master distiller, Kyle Merklein, who is a K-State grad, is with me today as we discuss a variety of topics when it comes to Holladay Distillery, such as the process of making the various Ben Holladay bottled and bond bourbon offerings, what makes Holladay's process unique, and much more. And given that Kyle's a K-State grad, we'll get his prediction for the 2025 football season, as well as the upcoming men's basketball season. Some of you also might have had the opportunity to meet Kyle before at one of our Holladay Distillery tailgates at K-State football, which, quick plug, it's the best tailgate of the year. I look forward to it every season, so stay tuned for when we announce the 2025 tailgate plan with Holladay Distillery, and be sure to join us for what will be a tremendous time. Kyle, before we get started, we need to remind everyone about our watch party we're hosting at Holladay Distillery's location in Weston, Missouri for K-State's season opening game against Iowa State on August 23rd. Doors are going to open at 10 a.m. We're going to host live pre and post game shows on Three Maw on site. You can purchase tickets to attend for $25, and included with that purchase of $25 ticket is a welcome cocktail from Holladay Distillery, tastings of the various Holladay bourbons, and Five Farms Irish cream liqueur, and food from our friends at Batch Elder Family Farms. If you're 20 years of age or younger, tickets are only going to be $10. And if you want to bring a child 5 years of age and under, they get in free. The link to purchase tickets is in the description of the show. And the latest update we received as of this morning is tickets are selling very fast. There is limited capacity for the event, folks. So if you're wanting to go, but have yet to purchase a ticket, be sure to do so soon. You don't want to wait too long and it sells out and then you miss out on the fun. So be sure to check it out. If you're going to purchase, go ahead and click that link today, this weekend, get that ticket locked down, and we'll see you at Holladay Distillery on August 23rd, which is only 16 days away now from kickoff. Kyle, before we dive in, anything to add regarding the watch party that our listeners should know, or about just the distillery on site and the location, what to expect?
Yeah, I mean, from our end, definitely appreciate, the partnership with Three Maw and K-Staters. I'm very biased in that. Thankfully, I have a little bit of influence, and so I've been excited to be able to help with, we're not, I don't think we have any ads that appear on, any Mizzou or KU, KCSN shows. So it's definitely glad that we can work with you guys. But yeah, it's it should be a good time. I will be like probably a lot of your listeners as well. I'll be over in Ireland, so I won't be here. But I plan on, before I do that, I'm gonna find, I don't know what exactly we're going to be going through tastings, but I'll find some real special bottles to pull aside for that, and make sure that we got some unique offerings that you don't normally get a chance to try. So we'll have some cool things up here. And yeah, the property is gorgeous. Great place to watch a game, and it's the event space more. It will be a good time for sure. So I'm kind of jealous that there's a watch party here and I'm not going to be here, but I mean, it's also Ireland, so enjoy it there too.
Nice little tease there, Kyle. Special offerings on hand, folks. Samplings of special offerings from Kyle, the master distiller, being teased out on the show. I mean, folks, that just gives you more incentive if you haven't bought a ticket yet to be on hand. Have you been to Ireland before?
I have not. No. So we have partnerships over there for various things, and you mentioned Five Farms Irish Cream, and so we've a lot of people in our company have been over there and worked with the farmers over in Ireland for that. And I'll real quick, I'm gonna just tell people what that is.
Yeah,
If that's all right with you.
that's perfect.
So
That's timely. Yeah.
yeah, so with Five Farms Irish Cream, we as a company wanted to have we again I mentioned we have partners over there, and they wanted to sell us Irish whiskey or other things, and that wasn't something we were interested in at the time. But our president was like, "Hey, please give me a good Irish cream." And so it's drink. Basically, no one in Ireland drank Irish cream. They don't drink the common ones, and so it wanted to be something that was unique and true to what the actual intent of Irish cream was. And so it was his original idea was I want it to be coming from one cow, one farm, whatever. That wasn't feasible, but we worked with 5 family-owned farms in County Cork, Ireland, and then producing or getting whiskey immediately mixed in with that. Basically, a farm-to-table Irish cream. It is by far and away the best Irish cream in the market. I'm, again, very biased on that, but there's tasting results to back that up, and consistently winning best Irish spirit from the Board of Ireland. And so there's a lot of credentials with that, but it's also a very true historic brand working with the farmers. And so it's I've hosted them in my lab here multiple times, and it's something special. And so I again, I have not been over there, but that's a big part of our company, and so I've been excited. Going to go a bit early, and I'm going to try to make it down and see all the farms, or at least a few of the farms that week leading into the K-State game.
And obviously you can get it here in the US as well. I mean, I'm sitting right here. I got a bottle of it sitting right here by my desk that I had brought up just to show the folks. And you can buy it in the US, but Kyle, it's timely because if K-State fans, they're traveling in groves to Ireland. I mean,
Yep.
I imagine it's going to be well stocked and on hand and available for anybody in Ireland.
It's pretty much. Again, I mentioned in Ireland, there's not a lot of the people there don't like Irish creams. This is one that they've supported, and it's done really well. So yeah, you'll be able to find it in Ireland, but then when you come home, you should be able to find that at pretty much any liquor store throughout the country. That's a big priority for us. We want to make sure that we focus in on that and make a real product with that. So yeah, definitely encourage K-State fans to give that a go. That's always at my morning tailgates in the fall. So yeah, definitely encourage it.
I had some before it was being served at one of the morning games that Wyatt was on hand for last year that he was serving up. I can't remember which game it was, but it was an 11 a.m. kick. So, we weren't cracking in on the Ben Holladay bottled in Von Bourbon yet, but not that there's anything wrong with that. I've done it before. So yeah. So, well, hey, before we get into the bourbon discussion, tell us about your background, where you're from, being a K-State fan, etc.
Yeah, so grew up Northwest Kansas, Phillipsburg, and so it was. Grew up on a family farm, and that was, my dad went to K-State. We were K-State fans, and it was one of those things. I was again Phillipsburg. We're right on the Nebraska border, and so I was always growing up with that wonderful hatred of Nebraska. We always got just antenna TV, and so it was all we could get were the Kearney or Nebraska stations, and that hatred for Nebraska during that 90s was very real. And so yeah, I didn't get to actually watch or go to that that iconic game, but listen to it. And I grew up listening to all those K-State games, and so love now Wyatt Vision, but just being able to really fully embrace that. We didn't make it to a lot of K-State games growing up, but always listened to them, held watch parties for bowl games, all of that fun stuff. Pretty typical, I think, childhood growing up with K-State sports. And then, time for college to roll around. I knew I was going to K-State. Didn't know what I was doing for my life. Dad told me to not go into farming. He was kind of over it. He was tired of relying on the weather. We'd gone through several, period of droughts during that time. And I remember cutting wheat, and it was terrible harvest. And so he's like, do anything. He told me, my brother and my sister, that do anything besides farming. And so I wanted to still stay in kind of the agricultural field. And so I went to K-State, did biological and agricultural engineering. And I got a bachelor's, and then in that went and made biodiesel for a year in Kansas City at Cargill. And then, that was fine, but not quite what I wanted to do for a living. So went back, got my master's from K-State, focused in on fermentation, And that was kind of, you take this grain, whatever it may be, and you convert it into something else. And so the thought was, ethanol, that was, most apparent. That's the most common thing. And so that's what I did first, right after college, and then was making vodka. And then this job opening came up over here, and was lucky enough to get this, making bourbon. It's something special. It's what I enjoy drinking. And so it's, taking that grain and really converting it into something unique and something special. And so it's, for me, that was kind of the thread of how I got into this industry, and kind of taking that from the case, the rural Kansas thing, to now being a master distiller making bourbon. But yeah, it was, K-State was instrumental in how I got here. And it was, during my undergrad, I don't know your era, I guess, exactly, but I was the Ron Prince era.
Oh, we were in college at the same time, Kyle. I was so I was 06 to 09.
Yeah, so I was little after that, so started in 07. So, but yeah, it was, football. I mean, there wasn't as much going on there, but man, basketball was fun during that time.
Yeah. We were just reminiscing about that on a show on our Patreon channel the other day about K-State basketball, because that was when I covered the team. So I covered the Frank Martin years as a beat writer from 2008, 2012. And, football did come back on the rise, and Bill Snyder came back, and that was fun. Obviously, 2011, 2012 were a lot of fun. But, something about basketball being really good, you and me grew up in an era when K-State basketball was irrelevant. So we didn't know what we didn't know what it was like to experience winning. And so being in Bramlage Coliseum, being there for games against Kansas where we actually win, and being in a Saturday with a packed Bramlage, and how loud that place would really get and juiced with the student section full. That was a fun time, man. It was cool to experience that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was my dad went in the 70s to K-State, and 72 I think is when he was there, but 72 to 75. But so he was in that era of good basketball, and he would always talk about that. And my whole life up until when I finally got to college, it was didn't really experience it. But then that was that. Yeah, I mean, with my brother at the K-State KU game in 2008, I mean, that was something I don't think I'll ever forget, for sure. So it was a lot of fun, and just the completely unexpected nature of the sudden rise. I think that was, I mean, like you said, just extremely. I'm glad that I did have that, because again, football during that time, it was mediocre at best. But highs and lows. But that was the era I was at with K-State, and now it's fun. I think similar probably to you, because I think at last tailgate you had your son is probably similar age to mine. They were playing football or something together. But so now doing all of this as the dad, and taking the my son and my daughter to the K-State games, that's now the special thing, right? It's K-State truly is family. And that's, to me, my brother being with me on one of my favorite games when I was at college, and then now my kids, I think that's what's special about the K-State fandom. And so, that's, to me, we go up every weekend in fall. Last year, maybe I shouldn't say this, makes me seem like a bad parent, but K-State KU game last year, I was definitely a bit nervous. My wife and daughter had already gone home. She was younger, and she was ready for bed, and not too loud and all that fun stuff. But my son was there with me, and third quarter was rolling around, and it was stressful. And he just looks at me, all innocent, and like, Dad, it's okay if they lose. It's okay. You have a really good family. We all love you. We all support you. It's like, okay, well, maybe I need to tone down my K-State fandom a bit. But so that's that's where we're growing up. But it's a lot of fun.
I think a lot of parents can relate to what you were going through in that moment, and then in typical when it comes to K-State. Like, I always joke, Kyle, that my happiness during the fall relies on 18 to 22-year-olds and what they do on the football field. It is dictated largely by those guys on Saturdays, and if they win or lose a game. And that KU game, man, that was agonizing last year.
It was tough. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really enjoy it at all
No.
until the final seconds ticked off the clock. And then it really wasn't like a sense of enjoyment. It was relief.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was really, the last 2 years have been that way. So,
yep. That's for sure.
Yeah. And my son was with me too. I mean, obviously I think KU game last year was the Holladay Distillery tailgate game. So, consumed a few drinks. My neighbors down the street who are huge Holladay Distillery fans, they're from New York. So like they don't know K-State all that well, but I got them tickets. They came down to the game and they love Holladay. So it was like the perfect mix up. Ended up being a great game to watch, like as a fan, like if you don't have like a rooting interest on either side, though they were obviously pulling for K-State and they loved it. Like they loved the Holladay tailgate. They loved the experience at K-State, and hopefully we get them back to more games as well. But yeah, just reminiscing and thinking back to like some of those moments. That was a stressful game. I was going to ask you like, and I'm guessing your answer, I know based off the way you described where you live, but your favorite football game growing up, like which one sticks out the most? Doesn't have to be one that you attended, but just your favorite moment in K-State football in like the 90s or early 2000s before you got to K-State.
Yeah, I mean, beating Nebraska was definitely a good one because that was, again, not watching it, but listening to it. And then, there was Nebraska fans at my school. And so, going in with that, to me, what really stood out is we would always have watch parties for bowl games. That was, to me, I think more than anything, and it would be almost every bowl game. And the bowl games now don't. We try to do watch parties with all our friends and keep that excitement. But man, when I was a kid, I remember they just meant a lot. It was really, really something special. And so we'd always do that. And so that was for me. Any bowl game, I think, would have been the big stuff. So, but yeah, Nebraska, that will always stand out, I think.
Yeah, I remember we went to a lot of different watch parties for bowl games. 1997 Fiesta Bowl on New Year's Eve. We were at a big watch party. Everyone was having a good time. I was locked in on the game. That was one of my more favorite K-State games just because of the stage. Yep. Bishop, McDonald, everybody was so good in that game. And then, we could 1995 Holladay Bowl. They blew out Colorado State. I remember where I was. I think that one was around the holidays too. Obviously, most of the bowls are. But yeah, it's I guess the way I would describe it, Kyle, is I have this strange memory where I can tie anything back to a K-State sporting event. So like if you ask me about a random game, I can tell you where I was at, even if I wasn't at the game, where I watched it, where I listened to it, what I was doing, and what I did that day, that weekend. Yep. Like it's just like this weird recall that my wife thinks is very strange. But
no, that's very relatable. I every time I go to K-State or go to the Kansas State Fair, that was we 4-H growing up, and so we'd always go to that. And I think was that Marshall, I believe, I listened to at the fair, and then every year after that, I hated the fair because of that, connections with various things. But yeah, it was always stressful listening to games while you're also trying to focus in on what you're doing at the fair. But yeah, it was. I'm right there with you that too much I can be able to recall. Losing to Baylor, I was at a wedding. I don't know who was getting married anymore, but losing the Colin Klein era, it was we're excited, maybe things are going our way, and then I literally don't know whose wedding it was at, but I remember sitting in the church with my phone up trying to watch it as much as I could, and my wife getting mad at me. So yeah, it's right there with you.
We were playing North Texas, which we thought would be an easy game in 2012, I think, Colin Klein year, and a buddy had a wedding, and ended up we were checking the score, just like, we're up big, I'm sure. And then it was like a 7-point game. We were like, then we all just like got glued to our phone, and we're like, all right, well, we can't. Sorry. Yep. Well, you girls go dance. We gotta make sure we take care of business here. So
exactly. Yeah.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network. Emprise Bank has been with us from the beginning. They were our first network partner, and they believed in the vision of what we were building from the start. I can't speak to any other banks or companies and how they operate, but I can tell you from personal experience and based on the growth of the network you're listening to right now, that if you have banking needs, call our friends at Emprise Bank. We've worked with so many great people there over the years, from Vicky and Aggie to Andrea, Lori, Jackie, Deb, and Aaron, and not to mention so many others that not just supported KC Sports Network, but supported our KCSN Foundation as well. But the best thing that I know is that if I have a question or a problem, no matter how dumb the question is, I know who I'm going to call and who I'm going to talk to. And I know that I'm getting an answer from someone that I can trust. And I know that person is there to help us. That's why Emprise Bank has always been and continues to be our partner in Possible. And they can be yours too. You just have to reach out. If you have a banking need, whether it's business or personal, hit me up. I will connect you directly with the same people that have helped us build KCSN. And that's our friends at Emprise Bank.
Hey, let's transition to Holladay Distillery and discuss more of that. Like you mentioned when you started at Holladay. So how long have you been there now? And what does a typical day on the job look like for you as the master distiller?
Yeah, so I started in 2016, and that's when we also started producing bourbon. So real quick, brief history on our company. For those that don't know, our company was founded in 1856 by Ben Holladay. He was the largest private employer in the United States during the 1800s. Stagecoach King, had a stagecoach line running west, sold it to Wells Fargo, all of those fun things. I encourage people to look at our website to read that history. But we started making bourbon in 1856, made it up until 1985. And then at that time, different ownership group and, really shut down, focused in on other things as a company. And so we had that bourbon history that lasted that period of time. And, fast forward 2015, our current ownership group wanted to bring back that history and the authenticity that was with it. And so that's when we started producing bourbon again, 2015-16, started renovating our property. We have 180 acres here in Weston, Missouri, so just 15 minutes north of the Kansas City airport. And really this place, it dates back to 1804 with Lewis and Clark. It's just rooted in history. When you walk around this place, it really feels like what you would expect for bourbon production. And so it has that history, that location aspect behind it. And so, 2016 is when we started making bourbon again. And that's when I joined. And I was a bit later. They had started up, but they were looking for someone to run full time. So that's where I came into play. I was making vodka right before that, as I mentioned. And so, this opportunity came up. And when we did this, it was all intentional about how we wanted to make bourbon and how we wanted to produce it. We brought back the history as much as we could in every aspect that we could. And so original mash bill that we made from that era, from 1856, we call it our 1856 original. It's 73% corn, 15% rye, 12% malted barley. That was what we started with. And it was, how can we bring it back the way that we used to do it? And so we used a two cooker system, cook the corn individually, the rye individually, and then combine them together after we've cooked them. We ferment 3 days, hot, fast fermentation cycle, what we used to do. We didn't have the yeast strain that we had back in the day. That was all lost. So we found one that was close. And then we go into a distillation column, and it's a typical distillation. We couldn't revive the one we had. That one was full of history, and bourbon history itself is still on site. But we couldn't revive that, so we got a new one. But we could. The flavor is controlled by kind of how you distill that, and so it's continuous column still. So that's one aspect to it. Coming off of our distillation column, it's 120 proof. Then goes into a second distillation, a doubler. Then it gets distilled again, going up to 130 proof. It's all exposed to copper in the vapor form, and so that's all kind of very traditional bourbon production. So it's traditional for us, but traditional in, the sense that, like, if you look at Kentucky, that's also how they're making it. From there, we then bring it down to 118 proof, go into a char 3 barrel from Independent Stave Company in Lebanon, Missouri. Then we store it in rick houses. And if you haven't seen a rick house in person, I again encourage people to come visit, because that's something special. It's not it's a building that's not heated, not cooled, just has kind of tin on it to reflect the sun. We open windows and close windows. That's all we do to control temperature. It's, that 7 stories, its first floor is cool and humid. Top floor is hot and dry. changes how the bourbon ages throughout that rick house. And so first floor will drop in proof from that 118 entry. It'll drop down to 114, maybe 112. And then top floors will go up to 128 to 130. And so that's where you kind of control the taste profile of the bourbon in that 6 years of aging. And so, 2016 we started. 2022 we finally released our first product, the Ben Holladay 1856 Original Mash Bill, bottled in bond, 100 proof, 6 years old. And then from there, we had other releases as well. So we had our Holladay Soft Red Wheat Bourbon that we started laying down in 2017. That's not part of our history, but again, our president likes wheated bourbon. I like keeping my job, so we made him happy. We got that. But it really is the market. The wheated bourbon, it is slightly softer, more approachable, a little bit sweeter. And so we wanted to make sure we had that. That is a more popular kind of bourbon now than it was in our history. And so we wanted to make sure we had that. And so made that as well, 6 years, bottled in bond, all the same basic process for that. And then from there, we have, various releases of those things. And so we have a rickhouse proof, which is the proof that it comes out of that rickhouse. Others call it full proof in the industry. But it's, the higher proof. Each batch is different, typically around 120 to 124 proof point. And so that full proof, full flavor on that. Then we have what's called one barrel bourbon. And I think last year at the tailgate, the fridge had just picked out their barrel. But yeah, it's an individual barrel from throughout the rickhouse, specific taste profile that you won't ever get again because it's one individual barrel. And so, yeah, that's kind of the core offerings. And that's kind of a rambling from the question you asked me. But, that was kind of the journey, 2016, starting all of that. And then it's just been kind of progressing since then. And so 2022 released that first one, 23, our soft red wheat, various releases after that. But again, kind of, I've heard you guys mention it before. At that point, then it's all about the expansion and getting all of this product to market. And so spent a lot of time in recent days, last couple years of, traveling, talking with people, promoting the brand, going to store tastings or, bottle signings, or never thought I'd be a lot of things. Never thought I'd be signing bourbon bottles. Never thought I'd be on a podcast talking K-State and bourbon. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's all about, at this point, again, telling that story, telling the history, and making sure that people understand what the point of difference is. And in the bourbon world, and if people aren't, we call them affectionately bourbon nerds. If they're not a bourbon nerd, they don't often know that a lot of bourbon is coming from the same couple producers, and it just has different labels on it. And so we really try to tell the story, the authenticity that comes with our brand. We've made it ourselves the hard way from the beginning. Aged this. It's not cheap. It's not easy to store, 20,000 barrels in a rickhouse or two rickhouses. And so, yeah, it's been all about telling that story, because that's what matters. I think in today's day and age, it's, you want to have that authenticity in the story. And so that's a lot of my day. And then, the rest of the time it's making batches of bourbon, tasting bourbon and sampling that, and getting ready for barrel picks. We do a lot of barrel selections. That's what, when we're recording this today, after this, I'm going to be going to a barrel pick and tasting through it that counts. And so, yeah, it's a lot of FaceTime with people and less time actually producing bourbon. We have a great team that can do that and helps with that. And so it's been, that's kind of the day-to-day now.
Well, it's great. It's an incredible journey, Kyle. And I can't help but, and I'm sure people that are watching on YouTube, we were talking about it off air, but the room that you're recording in right there, you see the hundreds of bottles in the background. What a cool spot. You were showing me off air, just a visual. So describe that room that you're sitting in and everything that's there.
So this, again, everything is rooted in history. This building is connected to our still house. It's off to the side. It's not on public tours, but it's where we do our barrel selections. This is my lab, and it's also what we call our bourbon library. And so, yeah, we have every single bottle that we've done in our history. It's located here. And so every bottle in bond rickhouse, but then all those one barrels that people have come in and picked. And so, yeah, I honestly don't even know how many bottles in here at this point. It fills an entire wall, and I'm running out of space. But yeah, it's this is, very much kind of keeping true to that history. But yeah, this was originally where we used to fill barrels back in the day. Now we select barrels in here, but it's a cool spot, and definitely not a terrible place to spend your day.
Yeah, no, for sure. How have you kind of seen things explode? So you mentioned the Ben Holladay Bottled and Bond original release in 2022, like the growth pattern of evolution of everything. Like, what have you guys seen over the last few years, just as you went to launch the first product and have grown across the country?
Yeah, so we really focus in. I guess I'll start with at the basic. We focus in on the core, and that's where we've always started every launch here in kind of our area. So Kansas and Missouri, maybe sometimes Nebraska included, but Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, that's our home base, and we expand from there. And so that was how we started the launch in 22. And then again with Soft Red Wheat, we started in that core. And then once we have more product available of age, then we spread out. And so then it's been launching throughout the country. I think again, the focus is here. We always want to make sure the bourbon is available here. And so in this market, you'll see more bottles available than any other market. We'll always make sure our core offering is available here. But then outside of that, we go out and we've shipped cases strategically to, I think it's about 47 states so far. And then several international countries. As a company, we have that international presence. And so, yeah, we sent some over to the UK. Sweden just took some, but then Australia, potentially a few others. But the partners that do well, it's alcohol distribution's weird. It's an odd thing, 3-tier system. You know, we as a producer rely so much on our distributor and them pushing the brand and helping us build a brand. And so we always send bourbon to those that are actually helping us with that. And so, yeah, it's gone from there with the distribution, but really what's odd to me, and it's social media, and I don't do much in the social media realm. I deleted Facebook when bourbon was getting released because I didn't want to, it's just seemed toxic at the time, but that's where it really has picked up. And I think people were surprised that there was this 6-year-old bourbon that we did all from ourselves from the beginning. And so it really, once we released, that story went on social media, these bourbon influencers, all of these people, it really spread from there. And so that has helped tell the story. But, again, it's continuing to make sure we get good partners in various other states and try to continue to build the brand. So it's that's kind of the progression for everything with that. It's been a bit surreal. For sure.
You guys do a really nice job on, I follow you. I'm not a big Instagram guy. Like I've never posted, but I follow you guys on Instagram, and like some of the photos, like of the drinks that you guys are making and spruce it up. It makes me want to have one. Even if it's like, so you guys do a great job with all of that. Well, you just hit on kind of what I was going to ask you, but a lot of times, Kyle, we do get questions from our listeners who reside in different parts of the country if they can get Holladay Distillery products where they live. And look, you mentioned it, like we know you guys are all over, as we've had pictures sent to us from 3 Mall listeners in states like Tennessee, Nebraska, Kentucky. I was in Vegas at one point a couple years ago, and I saw it right there, Ben Holladay Bottled and Bond Bourbon. We had somebody on a mountaintop in New Hampshire post awesome. A picture and send it to us that they had Ben Holladay Bottled and Bond Bourbon. Like, but for folks who don't know, like how many states are you guys available in? Where can they get it?
Yeah, so our Holladay Soft Red Wheat is the one that I think in most states you'll see, or that would be the driver. And so, yeah, the 47 we've shipped to, I'd say active, it's probably less. It's probably in the 35 to 40 state range. Then there's a couple online retailers that can ship, which I don't know how that's legal, but, various ones. You can find Bourbon Outfitters, Sealbox, and there's probably others. But we for us as a company, the driver nationally outside of this core area is that Holladay Soft Red Wheat Bourbon. And that you'll see a little truck on that one is the one that will be out there. And the reality is, we want that one to be more so an all 50 state type of bourbon. And so, yeah, if you don't see it at your local liquor store, you can ask for it, and it should be available. We've set up distributor partnerships in most states, and so the liquor stores should be able to ask about it and be able to bring it in. So yeah, it should be spread out, but it's a constant progression. That's for sure.
Is there a one of our listeners actually told me to ask you this, Kyle? Is there a special allocation model in the plans? Again, you guys you did one recently, right? Like the 8-year age?
Yeah. So
Correct.
recently, yeah, we released 8-year-old barrels, and we left them at barrel proof, and we kind of again spread that out mostly here at the core. And that went well. That was fun. And so that's still hitting some states in distribution. So that's my current favorite bottle, is any of those 8 years, basically. So if you do happen to see one of those, I encourage you to pick it up. It's a bit more expensive. It's 8 years, but it's phenomenal. That's what I'm sipping most of the time. We will continue to have progressions with that. So yeah, 8-year now. We have the soft red wheat mash bill that will be turning 8, and that one's going to be a bit more limited on that 8-year if we do anything at all. We'll see. But then both of our mash bills we plan to hold to 10. And so the 10-year mark is going to be for sure another release. And so that would be next year at some point. So 2026 will be the 10-year mark, and that will be the first round of that going out. So that will be one of the special ones. One thing we do here at our distillery is we release what we call the Cave Collection. So we take our finished bourbon and we put it into a second barrel in our ancient cave and age that for an additional year in that barrel. And it really changes the taste profile and flips that from a traditional bourbon to kind of manipulating it into a, whether it's sweet or smoky or, extra influence with the bourbon itself. And so we release those once a month here. And so those are always announced sometimes via social media, Instagram or whatever. But then we also have I think on our website, you can sign up for exclusive releases and information about that. But yeah, we will definitely continue on with, we've been really focused in on the core and the core releases, but there will definitely be kind of those special release allocation type things going forward. And as I mentioned, we want to keep the majority of that here. So it's, if you're Kansas and Missouri, that's where you're going to have more luck finding it. And then we'll randomly sprinkle it throughout the country just because then you get people chasing it. And that's always a good thing for the brand. But we'll make sure it's more available here than anywhere else. So that's always the plan for us moving forward with stuff.
Yeah. And I know the 8-year was a limited release, right? But just to give an example to folks anecdotally of how popular, Holladay Distillery products are, and like that 8-year, just for example, I went to my local liquor store maybe within like 3 hours of the day you guys, announced that it was out there and we knew they had it. And they said they sold out already. I showed up and they said they sold out that morning. So very popular stuff that you're doing there, Kyle.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's anytime there's hype, it's always, can you live up to the hype? So that's always the stressful thing going on next. But yeah, it's definitely, we appreciate the support from, whether it's you or, anyone who's bought one of our products. We appreciate it. We're not, this massive company that takes that for granted. It's pretty cool to see that. That's never lost on me whenever something sells out. And so, yeah, definitely. Always want to make sure that I say that we appreciate anyone who's bought any of our products and encourage you to do so, encourage people to visit. I feel like our vibe around here is very much like at K-State. It's a very, small place and we're all really connected and we care passionately about what we're doing. And it's not just, we're making up some fake brand or anything. So it's, we very much, appreciate anyone who's bought the bottle.
We 100% stand behind you guys. Like it's what I drank. Like I didn't drink Holladay Distillery products until we started this show, which actually we started the show kind of around the time that you guys released Ben Holladay Bottled and Bond Bourbon. And, I started to drink it and I love it. And my friends love it. We have it when we go to Manhattan. We have it at tailgates. That's why we look forward to the Holladay Distillery tailgate every year that we do, because so many other people get to try it as well. And we hear rave reviews about it. And then to just double down on it, you guys are a local company and this is a K-State show, and you guys hear us all the time talk about like K-Staters. If you're a K-State fan, you want to support Holladay Distillery. They're K-Staters. Kyle's a K-Stater. And that just makes it all the more incentivized to want it, because it's top quality bourbon. It's amazing stuff. And you guys do a ton of amazing things. So we appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hopefully. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was going to say, hopefully this year we're toasting more with it as a, celebration for the wins.
Yes.
So.
Well, I thought you were going to say earlier when you said during the KU game that you're a bad parent, because like, this is what crossed my mind at that moment was like, I wonder if Wyatt could go open up the tailgate for me again, because I could use a shot of bourbon with the nervous energy going on. So I thought you were going to say that you were thinking about heading out to the tailgate quick.
Sometimes I do. I do think that's for sure. Yep. So the nerds.
How do you drink your bourbon? Neat on the rocks?
I'm mostly neat. During the summer I'll use on the rocks or make a highball with it with some Topo Chico or sparkling water or whatever, lemon or something, make it a bit more refreshing. But yeah, most of the time I'd say I'm neat. That's, at this point, multiple years into drinking bourbon on the job, but that's the route that I go. So, yeah.
Are you a cocktail guy too? Like, do you like old fashions? Like, do you
I do.
Go-to?
I do. Old fashioned would be the go-to. And here at our distillery, we have usually couple 2 to 4 types of old fashioned seasonal or whatever. But so I do enjoy those. I don't tend to drink overly sweet cocktails. So if there's a bit more acid or a bit boozier in general, I'm good with that. So yeah, old fashioned works, but then we do bourbon smash, and it's a real nice citric acid bomb, basically acidic drink that's really refreshing on a summer day. So yeah, I do cocktails. I'm just not very good at making them. So I will tend to stick with just pouring bourbon in a glass. It's more my forte.
Not very good at making them. I think you're being humble. Like the master distiller, I feel like, with your brilliance that you can definitely spruce up quite the cocktail as well.
Yeah.
But hey, well, we got to get you on the record. First of all, you're going to Ireland for August 23rd. And like I said, it's almost here. Like, what's your, do you have a prediction for that game?
Yeah. I'm predicting K-State's going to win because that's going to be a long plane ride home if they don't. One of our fan bases is going to be very miserable on all those Aer Lingus flights coming back to the States. But yeah, so I'm going to go with a K-State win in that one. It's going to be close, and it's going to be I feel like it's going to be like that KU game last year where you just never feel good about any of it, even if you do win. I think it's going to be one of those ugly, just grind it out and hopefully you pull it off type games. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I'm going with 10 wins for the year. I'm being optimistic. I'm being positive. I'm a fan, right? And so I'm always going to be like that. But I think this year, last year, I think I've heard you guys mention it before, but like last year was the year where, all right, you get a new quarterback, you can't expect the world from him. And so that I kept my expectations in check last year and tempered all of that, and to come out with 9 wins, there was some that you were frustrating or whatever, but so yeah, this year the hope would be then to see the progression, and the receiving core looks good, and you just never know with a freshman tight end, but Lincoln Cure, like, that's exciting. So it's the hope is for that 10 win season plus, but 10 wins would be my prediction on that one for now. We'll see.
I think I think that's probably where I'm at, 10-2, and we'll see if that gets you in the Big 12 title. Because that's probably 7-2 in Big 12 play if everything goes to plan, and you would like to think that gets you in, but again, the Big 12 and wacky tiebreaker scenarios, it's almost impossible to forecast what that might look like at this time. But a highly competitive league, everything at the top is probably going to be kind of jumbled together. Like if you look at the models and the analytics, they all have like the top teams in the Big 12 winning between 6 and 7 league games. So it'll
you look at the schedule, and I don't know, there's not any I'm like, okay, well, that's a loss, but then there's also none that are like, oh, that's a guarantee. I mean, it's just one of those things where you could easily see one of the Houston type games happening, and it's just not expected, and it's a loss. But then they come back and they roll, and so it's gonna be tough to predict. But yeah,
43% of the league's games last year decided by one score or less, and it'll probably be. You look at K-State's schedule. Yeah, there's a lot of games that could be like 6-7 point type games. So
yeah,
it's going to be stressful.
I'm not feeling good about that Army game at home.
Yeah, I think I get it. The Army won 12 games last year. They're well coached by Monken. And it's in a strange spot, right? Because you're 2 weeks removed from Ireland, and a lot of people will tell you the jet lag catches up to you in that week 2, and then that's right before you go to Tucson, the Friday night game. So it's a wacky schedule to start the year, obviously, with Ireland, and then all of that, and that's a tricky system to to prepare for. Army did lose a lot, Kyle. So I will say that. Yeah. Bryson Daly, their do-it-all quarterback, he's gone. Now, it's a system that you can often plug and play, right? But I think based off the production that they did lose, I think K-State will be okay. But I get it. Like, there's been a slip-up early in the year.
I just know that I'm going to be feeling that jet lag about that time. So it's going to be hopefully they're quite a bit younger than me and drinking less bourbon, so they should be fine on their recovery. They got the best helping them with their recovery. But that's the fear. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun season regardless. Hopefully I can make sure my son isn't telling me to calm down too much. So
I do the same thing. My wife catches me on things too. We take it too seriously to where my when he was 5 and K-State lost, I guess he would have been 6 then, when they lost in the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament to FAU, and my wife and I were at the game in Madison Square Garden. My son was back home, and we had promised him we would go to the Final Four if they win, obviously. And, he was just in tears and agony over losing to FAU. And I was like, man, 6 years old, he's a clone of me, to be hurt that much by a game already. But, you got to be invested. If you're invested early, you care more. It makes the wins and the special moments really stick out. He was pretty spoiled, to be honest. Like, he's a Chiefs fan too. I mean, all he's known are Super Bowls and, Big 12. We were at the Big 12 championship game for football. Like, his first year of really going to all the games was 2022 for basketball and football. I mean, what a year that was.
Exactly. Yep. Not too shabby. Yeah.
So anyways, experience the highs and lows. It makes the highs all that much better. Well, hey, we hope to run into you at some tailgates this season in the fall at Manhattan. And I hope I see a lot of Holladay Distillery, Ben Holladay Bottled and Bond Bourbon around at the tailgates. You're going to be a very popular host if you have some Ben Holladay Bottled and Bond Bourbon, whether it's the soft red wheat or if it's the Ben Holladay Bottled and Bond Original, the Rick House, etc. Or, if you want a Bloody Mary early in the morning, 360 vodka, throw it in, or again, the 5 Farms, right? I mean, it's there's a lot of different options that Holladay Distillery can meet for your tailgate needs. So you're going to want to have it. Home opener, August 30th. Be stocked up at the tailgate. You can pick it up in Manhattan. You can pick it up in Kansas City. Make sure you have it. Kyle, hey, we appreciate it. We appreciate Holladay Distillery, all you guys do, and appreciate all of our listeners here at 3 Mall for supporting not only us, but also supporting Holladay Distillery.